It's really complex, no shying away from that. And I think that is where the edge lies, right, if you're able to crack it. And that's also the reason why you see very little or actually no disruption happening in the last 10, 20 years in this category, that it is a complex category, and especially supply chain wise, right? If you talk about, let's say, back-end integration, and I'll give you some examples. Now, it's all about casualization. India is all about casual footwear now, and it's just getting started. But till now, all innovation, all product development, all great designing, etc., was just outsourced to China, Vietnam, etc. No one has even thought of developing that ecosystem in India, right? So when we started, we spent the first couple of years just setting that up, just setting our brand for success. But we knew that, this problem where we are establishing an in-house design lab, doing many-to-many connections between component suppliers, vendors, sole makers, upper makers, etc., and then to, finished good manufacturers, establishing that complex, connection matrix is what we were doing for the first 2 years. And that is really playing well for us right now. And that is what our edge is. And that is where the consumer is already evolved. The consumer wants designs because he's exposed, like we discussed earlier, right? But without solving this, no brand can even dream of catching the fancy of the young consumer in this segment. But that is something that we've largely been able to crack. Obviously, we're still working. We will always be working on staying ahead of our, ahead of its time in terms of design capabilities, product capabilities. But it's a huge problem that we're trying to solve, right? Even if I talk about being forward integrated, we as a young brand became omni-channel very, very soon, right? And it's all cool to become omni-channel, but then the kind of we opened distribution, we opened LFR outlets, and then we opened our own stores, and then we had D2C, and then we were great sellers on Amazon, right? The kind of complexity, and then you also have your matrices of sizes and different articles in footwear. But that is where some of our prior experience came in place. Some of the best practices that I've learned, in my previous assignments came in place. Also, thankfully, a lot of that part is already solved by a lot of consumer tech companies. Like, we are also working with Smitten on getting insights. We're working with a lot of companies which are trying to solve different pockets of this problem. If it's demand forecasting, right? I won't be taking names because then it looks like endorsing companies, but there are people solving for demand forecasting. There are people solving for SKU rationalization. There are people solving for gaining consumer insight. Yeah. And if it's not there, adapt it. There are some ready to pick solutions, and then there are solutions which you can adapt to your own need and stuff. But that is what effectively solves for all the complexity. You just break it down into different transaction points or operation points with the consumer, and then there are specialists who are anyways working for it, True. Like payment problems and whatnot, right? So that's what's been working for us.
So we are procuring milk from 5,000 farmer families. This milk from 5,000 farmer families comes to 150 village-level societies, from where it goes to 3 milk chilling centers, from where it comes to the manufacturing unit, and then it goes for distribution to 40 different cities. And this entire chain is temperature sensitive. It is cold chain sensitive. So how do we maintain this? And there are two aspects to maintaining that quality. One is being very transparent with the farmers and having their trust that the quality of milk that we have to give has to be of very good quality. And second, to maintain the cold chain. On the transparency part, on the integrity aspect, what we have done is, so every time a farmer comes to a village level society and pours some milk, immediately an SMS goes. So we have used technology to ensure that there is transparency at every step of milk collection. So the SMS goes to the farmer, and that SMS can be accessed at any point in the future. Likewise, when this collected milk comes to the chilling center, there is a software which collects the weight, the fat, the SNF, and that gets logged in. You cannot edit it after a month or after 2 days. That gets logged in. So that entire technology builds in a lot of trust and faith in the farmers. Ki Frubon is transparent with respect to their milk collection practices. On the cold chain, we have invested a lot in terms of setting up cold stores at our manufacturing unit, setting up silos at the chilling center. We have invested in the logistics. So we have our own refrigerated vehicles. And finally, for the last mile, we are developing market infrastructure in the form of deep freezers for ice creams, visi-coolers for milk products. So that basically ensures that the entire supply chain, from the first drop of milk to the last mile, has some control with respect to the cold chain. So these are some of the things which we are doing.
These were the things that challenged us from day one. I think I always tell in my team that as a company, we've always been clear that we'll not have anybody from fashion industry. because I think disruption happens from outside the industry, and there are multiple companies globally who have proven it time and again. I think what we have done is when we're starting the journey, we were launching 50 designs a day, and we had like 50 MOQs per design. But realize if you want to scale the business, this 50 will start hurting us because the Pareto in our design, in a business like us, like top 5% designs drive 90% of your sales. And that no AI can tell you. Let me put very clearly, no matter how much AI talk, at least on that front, what the human brain will like, it's not possible to detect on AI also. They can generate more things, but not on this front. So I think the beauty is that you have to build supply chain which is extremely nimble, agile, and can take demand shocks. Because at the same time, there are designs which you will make 5,000 pieces, designs you only make 5 pieces. Now to do that, and in a country, India, where it's a predominantly a very high MOQ business, when we went out and said that we want to challenge this, we were shown doors by multiple factory owners that was don't come next time. And I think that was the first challenge that we took, that let's solve this. And I think it's a very strong patience game there. I don't know, like maybe 70, 80 iterations failed over 8 to 10 months, but every day we were coming back and said, let's do it again. Every day we were trying to make sure that can we make it 50 became 30, 30 became 15, 15 over time became 0. And still we feel proud at 0, can we also now optimize there as well? Because then you have to also see at scale today, we are touching revenues where we are launching 500 designs a day. How do you also ensure that you, because we as a company pay our suppliers on time. Industry pays in 6 to 8 months, we pay in 30 days. And we want to make sure this again is a very different factor for our contribution to the entire country. Again, I said, supply chain is where Newme will be built differently. I can tell you, we're not a fashion company internally. We're a complete data and technology company which sells fashion. And that's a DNA we have built from day one. The entire company, the age of the team is 23, 24, and most of them, it's their first employment. So I think that allows us to really push the barrier every single day. And I think technology is the core of what we are doing. And if we want to build a global company from here in next 5, 6 years, I think the only differentiation will be technology play. If that gets stuck, we'll be in problem. If you're able to overcome those situations, I think what we're doing today is groundbreaking. I personally feel that. And in next 8 to 10 months, we can be a different level of business at our level. So I think technology has to play a big role. And companies, even like offline, like we opened stores, we're figuring out how do I solve inventory there, because my stores have to be same story as my online story. I can't have stores where the inventory is not changing in, say, 45 days. Inventory changes in 15 days in my store. It's a complete, again, a quick commerce model. And we have always thought our products as a grocery business with a shelf life of 40 days. So that's how we learned that, how do you learn from industries? When we went out to open the store, the idea was, yes, we have to be affordable. We have to keep a price which is customer friendly, but it should not come as sasta. Because again, the parameter was, how do I track my UGC content on my Instagram? A customer entering my store, the trial room is the biggest touch point. And I'll tell you, 95% brands in India don't spend money in trial room. They spend money in overall store, but not in trial room. And I can tell you today, trial room is where the highest touch point of my consumer is. My trial rooms are like a studio. You can create content without any setup. And that is again a very strong marketing for me. So I don't have to spend money in marketing, but a customer becomes my walking, talking marketing person. So I think those are things we have challenged ourselves. And again, technology plays a real role again, inventory movement, store layout, which product to go in which part of store, all technology led today for us.